Welcome to Leading Life, the show all about living to the fullest and leading life on your terms.
You will learn tips, tools, and strategies for achieving total personal transformation.
I'm Bren.
And I'm Cam.
This is Leading Life.
Welcome to another awesome episode of Leading Life. I am Cam.
And I'm Bren. What's up?
And today we have an awesome topic for you, but real quick, we're just going to recap, what happened last week with Lilith. Well, not extremely recap, but, he talked about the 3 powers of belief, and they were all 3, cool little studies that were done to show that our brains can alter our experience, alter the way our body does its work. It's insane what belief can really do, and the power of belief in your life. You got to try this, and go check out the last episode. It was really awesome. And real quick, Brennan, how was your week?
My week?
Man,
it was actually really awesome because I've been putting a ton of work into my record. So I've been doing a lot of studio work, a lot of recording, a lot of guitars, a lot of vocals, and then on the weekend I actually spent most of the weekend at the beach in Erie because I had some shows to perform there. And then we spent yesterday on the beach with the whole Implicit team and a bunch of friends and stuff. And so just overall a great weekend. If you can probably tell my skin is burnt from just the amount of time I spent in the sun. But yeah, I had a great weekend. I'm really excited about, being back here too, being back at work because that's what I love to do. So how about you, Cam? How's your weekend been?
My weekend has been awesome. Lot of desk work, kind of boring compared to you, but you know what? You got to grind at the office before you can have a good time outside, so that was my week basically.
Fair enough.
So today I'm presenting a topic. Like I said, every time I come up with a topic for Leading Life, I look at my own life and what's going well and what's really helping me along my journey, and then I dissect why it's helping, and I come up with this topic, and then I bring it to you guys. So this week I am going to talk about something that will massively improve the quality of your life. And you probably really want to know what it is because you've clicked on this video. But I just want to say, this will skyrocket your way to success. And success is different for everyone, but I believe success is, being able to live and enjoy every moment of your life, So today we're going to be talking about health. Health being, fruits and vegetables, whatever you want to call it, just I call it energy, and I really got a lot of these principles, from Tony Robbins. He's changed my life in the health, and also a bunch of YouTubers that have presented, diets and exercises and all the podcasts I listen to about health. And I just want to say maybe 10% of this is coming from me. This is really just compiled from so many amazing people all over the world who present different, tools and strategies about health. So, Brennan, real quick, what do you think when you hear the word health?
Man, when I hear the word health, the main thing I think of is just feeling really good, just energy, you know what I mean? Just the ability to just go. For me, growing up, one of my favorite things was to just be a hyper kid, right? And as an adult, it's we tend to slow down. But yeah, that's what I think of when I think of health, is hyper energy.
Absolute, dude, I agree. Because, we've all been bedridden, and I'm not going to lie, that is, the worst feeling ever. And sometimes, even when I would just want to have a good day, and I'm not having a good day, I just think about what I was feeling like when I was bedridden, and then I think about how I feel right now, and I just, instantly I'm grateful. Instantly I'm really happy because I'm not sitting in a bed beside a bucket full of vomit, And, so a lot of this is social conditioning. We're all afraid of this bug that's gonna come get us, and we're gonna be sick, and everybody's, flu season, and you're gonna catch a cold, and you can't give your loved one a hug if they have a cold because you're gonna catch it. And at the end of the day, it's all lifestyle, and that's what you're gonna learn today. And also, we're gonna talk about how much you need to value your health, because if you don't, then you'll see what happens. I mean, I'm sure you've probably seen, a family member who you've lost because of their health deteriorating right before your eyes. And it's honestly something that me and Brennan went through, and that is why we're so, crazy about health now, is because we've seen the worst of the worst, and we don't want you guys to have to go through that. It is just awful. So, I guess real quick, we'll start with our little story there, Brennan. Do you wanna,
Well, I'm thinking we mentioned how we want to express how important it is to value your health, and to give you kind of my point of view and the moment I started valuing my health. I mean, growing up, I was never really all that healthy. I wasn't a sports kid. I wasn't athletic. I'd much rather spend time, just sitting around watching TV, playing video games. I loved video games as a kid, and so. Yeah, you can imagine in my adolescence, I was a little overweight, and I felt like crap all the time. I'd get sick constantly. All the kids at school knew me as, Bren, that kid who's always sick, and I missed school more than anybody else. That was my thing, because I was just always sick, and I just didn't want to do it. And it wasn't until I started kind of taking a look at how I felt, and it wasn't so much how I looked. I never really cared about that so much. Sure, I'm a little chubby, I got the man boobs, it's not a big deal. I got made fun of a little bit for it too as a kid, but it wasn't really, I don't know, it didn't faze me all that much. I really more cared about how I felt, and I was really sick and tired of being sick and tired all the time. It was just that. And so the first thing that I changed, actually, that put me in a more healthy state, was I switched all of my pop juice, all that garbage, and I switched it all with water. And I started just drinking water all the time, constantly, every day. I kept a water bottle with me. I brought a water bottle to school, and I swear instantly I lost 20 pounds just within a month or two of just switching from pop and sugary drinks to water. And that one shift for me really motivated me to keep going, because I was like, wow, if I could make that big of a difference with that small of a change, why shouldn't I? And so I just continued, and through the years, it wasn't, for me, my personal journey, it wasn't that I, one moment decided I'm going to get healthy and then all of a sudden I was healthy. For me, it was like small progressive changes throughout a couple years. So the first change for me was changing to water. And then I finally started, I was playing a lot of video games at the time. I think it might have been like 15 or 16 or 14, I don't know. And we used to play Call of Duty, right, Cameron? Do you remember that?
Oh, too much
Yeah.
Call of Duty.
Yeah, we played a lot of Call of Duty, and we play online with all our buddies and stuff. And so in between games, like matches, you would have these breaks where you get to choose your character and change your guns and all this stuff. But I would take those breaks to lift weights. And so I would just constantly lift weights, and it didn't really get me anywhere because I was only doing biceps and I wasn't, working out anything else.
You're just doing what they show on the TV show, just bicep curls constantly.
Yeah, that's what I thought working out was. You just you got these biceps you got to work on. Everything else will take care of itself, right? And then this, I forget where I heard it. I was at a buddy's house or something, and one of my buddies, I don't know, somehow I heard about this thing called piss-ups. And the idea of piss-ups is like every time you go to the washroom to take a piss, you stop and you do 10 push-ups or 5 push-ups or however many you could do, and you could switch the workout and change it up if you want. But that was essentially it, is piss-ups. And that was another thing. It started getting me in the idea of, I could use a certain trigger to trigger me to do something else. So every time I used the washroom, it reminded me I had to work out, and it reminded me how I valued my health, and it reminded me, what was most important. But honestly, that never really lasted, the whole piss-ups thing. I think the biggest shift for me, I mean, those were small shifts that did get me somewhere, but the biggest shift for me was when my grandfather was passing away. Well, our grandfather, Cameron. And his health was pretty bad, and I think the moment for me was when the whole family was sitting in a room, and the doctor was coming in the room to talk to us, and the doctor was basically there to tell us that he's not gonna survive, this is not gonna happen. But he didn't just tell us, your grandfather's going to pass away. He told us, this is what's wrong with him, and this is what's wrong with him, and that led to this and this, and then that's what's wrong with him, and then that, and it was just this list of all these problems that were just destroying his health. And it was like a crazy moment for me, because it was like, man, I don't want my family to have to sit in a room and hear that the way my family had to sit in a room and hear that. And it was just a big moment for me. And ever since then, I was already on a health journey, but that's when I started actually doing research, and it was more than just, I'm going to make this small change. It was like, okay, I need to learn like what it takes to be healthy right now. I got to lose this excess fat. I got to get that energy back, and I got to really take control of my life. And there was a book, Think and Grow Rich. I remember reading that book. I remember a certain line, something along the lines of, you can't be successful and unhealthy. There is no success without health, because you don't want to be richest man in the graveyard, right? And you don't want all this, success and, whatever, money, materials, status, whatever it is, and then be unhealthy and feel like crap all day. It's just... it just put two and two together for me. But at the same time, because I spent so long unhealthy, and I know what it's like to be there, and I understand that mindset and that point of view, and I really empathize for people who are dealing with health conditions, or who are overweight and not getting proper exercise, or not having a proper lifestyle or proper diet. And another big part of that is emotions. If you could be working out all the time, you could be eating the right foods and doing all that stuff, but because you're stressed out all the time, and because you're constantly worried or constantly in fear, it just leads to more issues. It creates acid in the system, and that just breaks down stuff. It don't matter how good you eat or how much you exercise. You also have to take care of your emotions. There's a lot more to health than you think. And again, I'm no nutritionist, I'm no health advisor or nothing like that. But I've made a shift that's really completely changed my life and set me on a crazy adventure of like energy and passion and health and excitement. That I wish anybody could have. And so I'm just sharing what's helped me. Obviously, I really encourage you to do your own research on your own health journey. Because everybody's body is different in one way or another. Everybody is unique, and everybody has a doctor, so talk to your doctor. Well, not everybody has a doctor, but if you're listening to this, I hope you got a doctor. Go talk to your doctor. So that's my little testimony. That's my testimonial of health, Cam.
Yeah, so like, honestly, my journey is a lot like basically the same as you, because we're brothers, we hung out all the time. We'd always, anytime you had a revelation about anything, you'd come to me and you'd be like, Cameron, dude, I just had an epiphany, listen to this. And like, we would kind of be learning at the same time, you and me. So when you started doing the whole water thing, you kept telling me about it, so I did it. And I don't think I lost weight because I was just lazy and I didn't do much, but afterwards, like, I started actually listening to you because you kept repeating and I was like, all right, yeah, fine, I'll do it. And yeah, it worked. It just spiked my energy to the point where I'm just like, wow, I can be up all night, and it's ridiculous. So, and the whole thing that happened with our grandfather as well, like, I literally made the same conclusion as you did. Like, we're the same person. No, but it's the answer is so simple. That's what I love about health. The answer is so simple, and I think the feeling of pride at the end of the day, that you've disciplined yourself and that you've worked out, that you've eaten healthy, and that you feel good, is that feeling of pride feels better than any chocolate cake in my mouth, any of that, any lazy days watching Netflix all day. That feeling of pride at the end of the day is really what gets me going when it comes to health. So yeah, like you said, we're not nutritionists or anything, so please consult a professional about this, because yeah, everybody's different. You could even get, like, I know some people who are allergic to fruit or allergic to something crazy,
to peanut butter. Like, peanut butter is probably the main ingredient in my diet. And some people can't have that.
And you know what I just found out, Brennan? Peanuts are acid-forming foods.
Peanuts, eh?
Peanuts. But you know what? You're eating all this healthy stuff with the peanut butter in your shakes, so I think you're good. But you know, coffee is like obviously the worst. Coffee, alcohol, vinegar, those kind of things. But anyways, yeah, let's talk about why you should value your health and the pros and cons about, you know, what will come into your life if you value your health or if you don't. So first of all, just be grateful for your body. Like I still love what Gary Vaynerchuk Gary Vaynerchuk said about you know, just being lucky to be alive. He's like, guys, what if your mother was tired that night?
Yeah.
You know, like it's the stars had to align for you to be born. It's ridiculous the amount of odds that were in your favor here. So don't screw that up. Don't take it for granted because you have something, you have a gift. It's ridiculous. You have something, your heart beats 100,000 times a day without you having to think about it. Like you have a power inside of you that you overlook and you abuse, in my opinion. Well, most people. And honestly, I did it too. So I'm not here pointing fingers like I was the worst. So yeah, just realize that you have a body and you got to be grateful for it. So grateful for it because, you know, we're all lucky to have this. And another little thing that I use to be grateful for your body is something Ralph Smart said from Infinite Waters. He said, if I was to come up to you and ask you for your teeth, if like give me your teeth and I'll give you $1 million, would you do that? Brennan, would you do it?
Would I do that? No.
Yeah.
Maybe a tooth.
No, I got to take all your teeth and you can't replace them and I'll give you $1 million.
Could we? Is this bargainable? Like, could we?
It's not. No, that is the deal. Yes or no?
No.
See,
one tooth. That's all.
You know what that means? That means that your body is worth over $1 million and you don't even know about it. You don't even think about it.
Yeah.
Your teeth are literally worth over $1 million. If you wouldn't sell it for $1 million, then that is their worth. You know what I mean? So just think about, would you sell both your legs for $10 billion? I wouldn't. I definitely wouldn't, honestly.
Of course not, yeah.
That's what I mean. So just be grateful for how much worth your body has.
Yeah, that's a whole different mindset, I think, from what, you know, I used to have. I used to think it's like, well, it's just a body, you know what I mean? It doesn't really mean anything. It's going to fall apart one day and there's nothing I could do about it, right? But then, you know, to shift to the mindset of like, wow, I need to take care of this thing and like use this thing to its fullest potential because there's so much here. Like, I mean, the things you could do with your body, if you want to get inspired about your body and why to value your body, go watch like gymnastics or go watch the Olympics or go watch somebody do amazing things with their body that you wish you could do. And it shows you what's possible, and just, you know what I mean, it shows you that you could do amazing things. Even for disabled people, you notice, you know, there's all sorts of amazing people who are examples for the disabled of what's possible, and that's why, you know, it's important to never give up on your health and always remember this is the one thing that you control. Like, your doctor may give you advice, we may say, you know, tell you about our story and how we changed our life, but at the end of the day, this is up to you and this is your decision, and it's a huge decision of what you're going to do with your health. I mean, I don't know again, I'm not a nutritionist or a scientist. I'm just sharing my story. But I heard, you know, the food you eat like literally becomes your body within a few months, a few years, or whatever the number is. But like, you know, what you used to be told when you're a kid, you become what you eat, you are what you eat. It's like, it's not a lie. It's really not, because you become that in one way or another.
Oh, absolutely. And if you're eating live foods, you'll be alive. And that's something we're going to talk about later. But yeah, like you said, man, we have so much potential. And you see people every day on the TV or on the computer or whatever fulfilling that potential. The Olympians, the athletes, all these people, the bodybuilders. And they literally have the same system as you do. Sure, there's body types and such, but seriously, they have the human body that you do. So, you know, they're just, all they're doing is nurturing it. You know, it's like you have this garden and they have a garden, and all they're doing is like spending time in their garden all day long, taking care of it. Now, in your garden's just full of weeds, you're not really taking care of it. You know, that's the difference between your body and like an Olympian's body. And you know what? Honestly, Olympians are crazy. Just crazy the amount of times they're just practicing all day and like just it's nuts. But let's talk about the pleasure aspect of taking care of your health, because I want to scare you, but I also want to entice you. So first of all, the pleasure aspect obviously is energy, man. Like energy. It's ridiculous. The feeling of energy. Guys, you probably drink coffee every day. Like, doesn't it feel really good at like just like maybe 30 minutes after your coffee, that caffeine kicks in and the energy comes in? Honestly, like I would give up so many things to have energy, but I don't need to because I've chose this lifestyle. But if you asked me 2 years ago, I would have been like, man, if there was just this magic pill that would just give me energy all the time, I would do it.
Oh yeah, man. I remember growing up like in the band when we were playing in the band together. We used to always have to like persuade you with energy drinks and coffee because you had no energy and you wouldn't be able to make it through a 30-minute set without a coffee or an energy drink. And I was the same way. I always had to have my coffee before the show.
Yeah, dude, I was a 13-year-old drinking 5-hour energy and I would have 2 of them before my gig because I was just like, oh man, I'd die after a half-hour set. And nowadays, man, I play a 4-hour set at the bar and sure, I'm drained, but the entire time I was giving her on a 4-hour set. And the only difference there is what?
It's awesome. Like I can play 3 shows in a day now with no stimulant. Like no coffee, no tea, just like water and like fruits and veg.
That's all you need. No, totally. So there it is, energy. And the second one is strength too. Because like I know some of my friends, they're just so weak. Like actually, like they can't hold up a microphone stand. It's crazy. No offense to, I think if you're watching this, you know who you are. But it's just it's hard to like look at. It's like, dude, like human beings were meant to run around, climb trees, farm, like do active things all day long. We're not meant to be sitting down on our phones or on a computer, in our little box all day long.
No, studies are now showing that actually sitting down is worse than smoking cigarettes. Like I have a stand-up desk right here that I usually use. But like obviously sitting down for this podcast, my butt is killing me, dude. I gotta get up soon.
Yeah, honestly, me too. So the next one is endurance. We already talked about endurance. Our shows, like we can play 4-hour gigs rather than a half-hour gig without even being drained. Less stress is another one. There's a lot of studies that show like once you work, obviously working out is like the best way out of stress, man. Because you know how when people are stressed, they go to punch something. They want to like let it out. Work out because that'll like instantly decrease all your stress. Also, eating healthy.
Totally get yourself a punching bag, or like, what I love is like find a sport that you really enjoy. Whether it's hockey, baseball, football, skateboarding, anything. Something you could do alone, something you could do with friends,
running,
and something physical that gets you going. Because for me, like I used to not like working out that much, but I used to play hockey all the time, and so I did a ton of hockey. And now that I don't work out as much, I do a lot of skateboarding and I do a lot of working out, nowadays.
Yeah, exactly. So less stress. You eat better, you get less stress. Obviously, another pleasure aspect is you don't have to be afraid of catching a bug and getting sick. Ever.
That's awesome.
Ever. Honestly, I used to be so afraid of, when am I going to get strep throat again? When am I going to get the flu again? Or when's the next time I'm going to vomit into a bucket and be bedridden for a week?
When's that cold going to get me?
Exactly. And in the back of my mind during school, it was just the worst because, like, sure, dude, like, you don't like school, but you hate being sick. Like, it's awful. So one thing that valuing your health and taking care of your health will do for you is eliminate the fear of getting sick. And I'll explain to you why you won't get sick. And it's actually it's pretty much common sense if you think about it. Another thing is less sleep. Less sleep, and once you wake up, you have energy. People who sleep 8 hours and they're still tired and they need a coffee to like get them going. Literally, like my dad.
That was me for a long time, man. But it was 10 hours.
Exactly. You'd sleep the long hours to the point where, dude, you should be fully charged. Like, if this was your phone, you'd be at 100%. But no, you sleep 8 hours and you're still tired. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, sure, you have to, give your body time to, like, get going and stuff. But when you value your health, you become... It's easier to wake up, and it's easier to sleep, and you sleep less. It's honestly, the list goes on. Now, I want to talk about a few pain aspects to not valuing your health. Now, I'm not pointing fingers, but I'm just saying that the general population in North America is not valuing their health. I think we already understand that, you know, like with the fast food chains, with all their success, you know, I think we understand that, you know, most of the population,
pharmaceutical.
Yeah, exactly. Most of the population is, I mean, essentially, I heard this in another video, and it was like this guy talking about it. He said, you know, people, I think this was Forks Over Knives, which is a movie that I think you guys should check out. Forks Over Knives on Netflix. It's amazing, and it really, really helps you gain perspective on the whole thing. Anyways, he said, you know, they'll feed you all this junk to the point where you'll get sick, and then they'll give you pills to the point where, you know, you're kind of just staying alive. You know, your quality of life isn't the best, but you're still alive at least. And then you keep eating the junk, you keep taking the meds, you eat the junk, you take the meds until you die of, you know, the most common death in North America is heart attack. Dude, every 24 seconds in the United States, someone dies of a heart attack. Or sorry, they don't die. Somebody suffers a heart attack. Every 24 seconds, somebody suffers from a heart attack. So another crazy statistic is 1 in 4 deaths in North America is caused by heart disease. 1 in 4 deaths. And it's been proven time and again that most cases of heart disease are related to lifestyle. So obviously 1 in 4 deaths are reversible in the United States. But we're not seeing this, and obviously it's not common knowledge. They don't teach this much. And I want you to do your own research, because honestly, like, take what we're saying with a grain of salt and consult a professional and do your own reseach.
Yeah, this is your journey, man.
Absolutely.
This is not for us to make decisions for you, or this is really up to you. You know, everything we're saying right now, you could throw it out, not use it. You could use some of it, throw some of it out. But at the end of the day, you really should just go do your own research and find out what's best for you.
Absolutely. Another crazy one is every 40 seconds somebody has a stroke in the United States. A lot of scientists and you know, PhDs and stuff are talking about. I heard this, I think, in the trailer for What the Health, which is a new movie about the pharmaceutical industry. They're saying that kids, today's generation, the kids today are going to live less long. Like their parents are going to outlive them, basically. Like, say their parents are going to live till they're 80, they're going to live till they're 70, and it's just going to keep going down. And why is this happening? It's all, and you know what? 68% of all these diseases that people are dying from and people are suffering from is all caused by diet. 68% is caused by diet alone. So that's not exercise, that's not your attitude, that's diet. 68%. So that's wild. So 68% of all of this could be reversed. And honestly, just keep it in mind that you don't need money to be healthy. Because I remember listening to the Tony Robbins seminar about living health, and the first 3 things he talks about are the top 3 things that will make you healthy. None of them was food. And so many people, they're worried about, how am I going to get the right food, because food is what's giving me energy. And that's what I thought a long time ago. During our gigs, before a half-hour set, I'd be like, I need to eat an apple. I need to eat something, apparently healthy that'll give me energy. But honestly, all I really needed was a big glass of water and some deep breaths. And maybe a set of push-ups or something, jog, a light jog.
Number 1's oxygen. Number 2 is water. Number 3 is movement.
Absolutely, and that's before food. So keep in mind that you don't need to break the bank to have energy and be healthy. So
in fact, the lifestyle I live is a vegan lifestyle, which plant-based. I don't have any. Really, it's all cheap foods like bananas and potatoes and vegetables and fruits, and maybe I do some pastas sometimes to treat myself. But it's really it's really cheap to go for the healthier foods, and that's a big myth. Big myth is, hey, if I want to eat healthy, all healthy food is more expensive than, the food I'm eating, which is not always the case. I mean, if the food you're eating is dollar burgers at McDonald's, well, you could get, how many bananas could you get for $1, Cam?
I think it's like 3 or 4.
And that's more food and more health than a McDonald's burger that will ever give you.
Oh, one banana is more food and health than a McDonald's burger will ever give you.
Yeah, and so, it's just educate yourself. Don't take it from me. I don't want you to, get upset that I'm attacking your McDonald's burger. I want you to do your own research and find your own health.
Absolutely. So there we have the pros and cons, all right? And one of the biggest cons is, small sicknesses like the flu or like a cold, little things like that, sore throat. Acne is another big one. All these things.
Man, acne, dude. When I started drinking water and eating more healthy foods, it was crazy how fast my skin cleared up.
Yeah.
I had some pretty bad acne in high school, man. And it started cleaning up as soon as I cleaned up my diet. It was crazy. It was like just putting 2 and 2 together. I was like, wow. I mean, the skin's the biggest organ on your body, right? So whatever you eat, your skin is going to show. And I mean, no matter how much moisturizer or product you rub on your skin, it's not going to change how it comes in from the inside.
Absolutely.
I think you could affect your skin more from the inside than you can on the outside rubbing stuff on it.
Well, I think what people need to realize real quick, and we're going to talk about disease, dis-ease in the body. And when something isn't right in here, there are symptoms, obviously, right? You get a cold, you get the cough, you get the phlegm, you get the runny nose, maybe a fever. Your body's heating up so it can go faster, so it can get rid of this quicker, and what else you get when you get tired or whatever? You stop eating when you're sick. You ever lose your appetite when you're sick?
Oh yeah.
It's not because you're vomiting and stuff. It's because your body literally just stops having an appetite, because that is a defense mechanism. Because when you stop eating, you start cleansing. And I think I will talk about fasting at some point on the podcast, because it's something that I do all the time. But all these symptoms that we get from a sickness like the flu, the vomiting, the diarrhea, the fever, the acne, the sweats, the runny nose, the coughs, all these things, all the mucus, these are the cure. That's what people need to understand, is that the reason this is happening is it's healing you. It's getting all this out. The reason you're vomiting is because there's something in there that needs to get out. The reason you're having diarrhea is because your body's like, get it out of there as fast as possible. The reason you have acne, why would there be pus coming out? That's the toxins trying to get out of your body. It's like the last resort is acne. Let's make some pimples, get this out of here. You know what I mean?
And that's a big mindset shift, because to shift from, this acne is attacking me and it's natural, or, these health things that I'm going through are natural. And instead of just, and going for the quick fix, going for how could I fix this with, a pill or an ointment or something. And instead of going to, why is this happening to me? This can't be that natural. Who's not experiencing this? How could I find a way that, to understand why this is happening to me? And when you find that source, when you get down to the why, things just make sense afterwards,
Oh, absolutely, man. Absolutely. And people need to realize that, and this is something that I just found out not long ago, is that, like I said, all these symptoms are the cure. If you're covering up the symptoms, then you're covering up the cure to what's wrong with you. Because you really just want to figure out what's wrong with you. The symptoms, that's nothing. That doesn't even matter. Those are good. Good symptoms are good. You need those. But what we do is we get sick, then we cover up the symptoms so that, it doesn't, so it's like, it creates the illusion that we're healthy, really. And I like the analogy that Tony Robbins had in his podcast. He said he was in New York, and they had that big trash strike where there was trash in the streets and there was just so much garbage everywhere. And I don't really know the specifics about that, but the trash made it so that there was rats everywhere, and the rats were feeding off the trash, and they were thriving in the environment because obviously there was a bunch of garbage and they could just eat anything. So how wise would it be to say, oh, look at all the garbage that these rats brought here? Really, what you're doing is you're bringing the garbage, and the germs are feeding off that garbage, and that's how you get sick.
And the bacteria. And then it creates sickness.
Exactly, and that's why you're getting sick. So just realize that it's your lifestyle. If you don't have garbage for the sickness to feed on, then you can make out with somebody with the flu and you won't get it. It'll just pass right through you. Why? Because it has nothing to feed on. It won't live inside your body. And it also won't live in an alkaline body because it's impossible. Like cancer, there was a doctor that said cancer does not exist in an alkaline body. It can't happen. You know, like diseases like that, they won't exist in an alkaline body because...
And it's amazing, you know, hearing this should be incredibly liberating for you. It should make you feel like you have control to change now. It should help you feel and help you understand that, you know, it's possible to make a change, and you are in control, because the only thing you really control is your environment and your lifestyle. You know, because outside things could happen to you. You know what I mean? You could get hit by a car. That's going to change your health. You know what I mean? But you can't necessarily control that if a car hits you, right? But what you can control is your lifestyle, your environment, the way you live, because that's what leads to those small shifts. Like I said at the beginning of this episode, is those small shifts that change everything. You know, this doesn't have to be an incredibly difficult task that you take all day long to sort out, all week, all month, but no, it should just be like small shifts that you make every day, because every day you make a small decision. You know, the decision is, you know, am I going to eat healthfully or am I going to eat non-healthfully? That small decision. Am I going to have Mr. Noodles right now, or am I going to have a bowl of fruit and veg? Just make the small decision, and one small win at a time. You know, am I going to sit around right now, or am I going to go for a walk? Am I going to sit down and work on my computer, or am I going to find a way to stand up and work on my computer? Am I going to sit down and watch this TV show, or could I stand up and watch this TV show? Or could I not watch the TV show at all? Just go on an adventure. Go see some cool stuff. You know, this is just my personal experience. That's what's helped me, is making those small decisions, doing the right thing on a small scale consistently, and then it creates big results.
Absolutely. I guess all I can say is just try it for a month. I mean, as you know probably now, is me and Brennan are vegans, and I've been a vegan for about a year and a half, almost 2 years, and I've not had the flu or a cold or anything like that since I became vegan, since I started, and it's not just eliminating the animal products, it's just like since I started eating healthy, because, you know, there's a lot of unhealthy vegans out there, but I have not been sick since. I had the food poisoning once, and that's because I accidentally ate an animal product. So that just goes to show, like, you know what I mean? I had some bugs in my body, and then I added some trash, and I basically fueled the fire. I'm like, hey, here's some food. You can feed on it, and you can make me sick. You know, that's basically what happened. So, like, I'm just saying that try it. Because I know so many people, like, you know, I've been vegan for almost 2 years, and everybody around me has slowly became vegan. You know, all my best friend, my mom, my best friend's mom, my other best friend, my mother best friend's mom. You know, all my best friends' moms are vegan right now. But my brother, you know, and my best friend's dad just recently became vegan, and the guy is shedding pounds. He doesn't even exercise, man. He's shedding it. He's just shedding it, just being healthy and eliminating all those clogging products like meat and dairy and cheese and all these things. And he literally, like, he you know, he's a big guy. And Duncan told me the other day, you know Duncan, right? He told me the other day, he's like, yeah, my dad came up to me and he said, son, come here, give me a hug. And he's like, for the very first time in years, or probably in my life, I wrapped my arms completely around him. And it, like, they both, like, teared up together. It was such an amazing moment, and that just goes to show the change that could happen. Anything's possible.
Yeah, it's never too late.
Absolutely. So all I gotta say is try it, because this guy, man, I would not expect him to go vegan in like a million years, but he tries it, and man, the results he got are ridiculous, and I'm so proud of him, and he's sticking with it, and it's amazing.
7-day vegan challenge, baby.
That's what I'm saying. Try it for 7 days, and we're gonna explain a little bit how to do it real quick. But man, we're coming to the 40-minute mark almost.
Yeah, you know what, Cam? We should probably What else needs to be said in this episode?
What else needs to be said? I guess we'll talk real quick about, you know, the 4 things you got to give yourself and the few things you got to eliminate from your diet. That's it, and I'll say it really quickly. First of all is oxygen. Right? You gotta breathe, because most people, you know, they don't. Sometimes I want to get a tattoo that just says breathe. Like, my best friend has a tattoo that says breathe in French, and it's like, I wish I had something like that just to remind me every 2 seconds to breathe, because it's so important when it comes to energy. So important, dude. Because everything
I notice
you can.
anytime I'm feeling tired, it's usually because my breath has been really shallow.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? That might be why people wake up and they're so tired, because when you sleep, you're just you're not breathing fully when you sleep. When you wake up, first thing you should do is like grab a glass of water and just go to town like right away, honestly, because the difference you'll realize the second you get oxygen in your body. And another thing, it was a really cool study. This two-time Nobel Prize winner took cells out of rats, like skin cells, organ cells, whatever, out of rats, and they put it in jars. They had 2 jars, one where they depleted the oxygen level by 60%, and one where they kept the oxygen level where it was, and they gave it all the necessary nutrients and stuff that it needed, and blah, blah, blah. The one where they depleted the oxygen by 60% got cancer. It developed cancerous tumors. The cells started to mutate. So that just goes to show, like, do you think that oxygen plays a big role in the development of cancer? It plays the biggest role. So just realize that deep breaths every single day, diaphragmatic breaths, and empty your entire, like, nobody, the where you really get the oxygen intake is at the bottom of your lungs, and rarely anybody empties their lungs completely on a day-to-day basis. Rarely. So just try that. Just empty your lungs completely and just take those breaths. And another thing with the breath is aerobic exercise, aerobic movement. And this will change your life. I've been running constantly for a while now, and it gives you so much energy. It keeps you up at night. You know what I mean? It's unbelievable what cardio or any aerobic exercise for that matter gives to you. And aerobic just means with air, with oxygen, and anaerobic means without oxygen, and that's what most people are doing. So just try some exercises with oxygen, like some cardio, some skateboarding, some whatever. And when you do exercise, make sure you're breathing. If you're lifting weights, just breathe, because it's very, very important. So that's the oxygen part of this. Another one is water, and water is the cleansing, like, it just flushes everything out, man. Water is just amazing, and our bodies are 75% water. The earth is 80%, 75% water. You'd think that we gotta be 80% water. Like, it's unbelievable how much water is in us, and we can't go days without water. We can go months without food, can't go days without water, man. And we can't go minutes without oxygen, so remember that. But
man, it's like, imagine replacing your liquid blood with glue. If you don't drink water, your blood, like your insides or guts, they just kind of turn into goo and slush, and that's why it's so important to stay lubricated, to keep drinking a ton of water. It helps every organ, it helps everything. It just makes everything run better.
Oh, absolutely. Just think of it like it's like a slip and slide, man. Like, it's like a rapid. The more water you add, the faster things come in and go. You know what I mean? And
you don't want to go down a dry slip and slide.
No, that would suck. And that's what your body goes through when you don't drink enough water, and when you drink things like cola and coffee and tea. Like, just drink water, man. And with that is plant-based foods. Wet plant-based food, moist foods. You need those moist foods, seriously. Foods with water in it. Watermelon, dude. Cantaloupe. So some of these fruits and vegetables have like 80% water. Cucumbers. There you go.
Dates.
All these things.
Bananas.
And they're delicious. And a lot of them are cheap. Like, bananas are cheap. Bananas are cheap. That's all I got. Bananas are dirt cheap, guys. Potatoes. Dude, there was this guy, Dr. McDougall. He's promoting this starch diet where you just eat beans and potatoes all day. And these people who are overweight are just they're shedding pounds eating potatoes and beans. So, like I said, do your research, because it's all over the internet now, and things are blowing up. People are waking up to the point where, we realize that, look, animal products are not doing us well. And that's what we're going to talk about now, is just eliminating those animal products. Because, look, I'm not saying this from a animal rights point of view. I'm saying this from a common sense point of view. You look at a person who doesn't eat animal products and a person who does. The person who does has excess cholesterol, and they are at risk of heart disease. A high risk of heart disease and diabetes and stroke and cancer and all these things. And the person who doesn't eat animal products and is eating these plant-based foods, literally, like, their bones stay intact till they're 90 years old. Their bones don't deteriorate at the age 60 like most people. And it's just, look at the contrast. I'm not saying, look, you can argue that, human beings, we're not herbivores, we're omnivores, we're meant to eat and eat, whatever it is. But just look at what is effective. That's it. What's effective? Because honestly, like, dude, we're meant to be in a forest climbing trees and picking trees and stuff, but no, we have houses. Why do we have houses? Because they're effective, because they work. We have cities because they work. We're all together. We all have a system. You know, we're not barbaric. We're not living in caves anymore. You know, so just realize that we have to live life to the point where we're trying to, you know, just weed out all the stupid things that all the things that aren't working, all the things that aren't serving us. So, I mean, there are so many facts about how, you know, like dairy is an example. Like, dairy literally is so acidic to the point where it leaches calcium from your bones. It might come with a little bit of calcium, but it leaches even more from your bones. And the people who drink the most milk are the people who get the osteoporosis younger. There's literally a list of countries. The list of countries that drink the most milk is the same order of the list of countries that gets the most osteoporosis. And osteoporosis is a bone degeneration disease, if you didn't know that. So, coincidence? Like, you got milk, you got strong bones, you know? Like, just, you have to question what you...
They're not really allowed to say that anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't really say that.
Exactly. So, you just gotta question, you gotta question what you've been taught and do your research.
And question what me and Cam are telling you right now. That's what I'm saying. This is our personal research and what is worked for us. And the only reason that the only way you are going to fully adopt it, fully believe in it, or come up with your own ideas or conclusions is if you do your own research and find out for yourself. And not only research and Google and read books, but experiment, like do a 7-day vegan challenge and then see how you feel. And then try some other things and see how you feel and see what works best. And you know, even get some tests or something done if you really want to go specific. I'm going to do 30 days on this, you know, all plant-based diet, and I'm going to see how it makes me feel. I'm going to go to my doctor at the beginning, go to my doctor at the end, and see how things have changed. You know, maybe if you're that serious and if your situation is that, you know, drastic that you need to do something like that, then go for it. But, you know, my personal experience, man, is like I'm young, I'm pretty healthy. I just like to try things, to try what works, see what works best, see what makes me feel better, see what makes me feel worse, and go from there. You know, I've got a whole life ahead of me to make sure that I'm doing the right things, make sure I'm making the right decisions. And at any point, man, I'm keeping an open mind. I'm ready to make a change at any point. I'm ready I'm just open to new information. And I think that's a great mentality for anybody to have. Because, you know, we live in a time right now where new discoveries are being made all the time. There's amazing technology coming out. There's amazing, you know, understandings that we're coming to conclusions with in human beings and our bodies and our minds and in the way we work. And so to just be open to new information, you know, it wasn't that long ago that we thought the earth was flat or that, you know, women couldn't vote. You know, so keep an open mind. You know, we don't know it all yet. And I don't think we ever will. So we're going to be constantly learning. And just keeping an open mind when it comes to health is really important.
Absolutely. So just before you leave, I guess I'll give you 2 things that you should avoid. And even just by avoiding these 2 things, you'll you'll feel a difference in your energy levels and your vitality. The one is animal products, obviously. You know, like just try to avoid them for a week. It's possible. You don't need to have a big piece of steak with every meal you eat. And if you do, at least accompany it with a ton of vegetables, because the vegetables will give the steak a big hug and travel it through the digestive system nicely, rather than it, you know, because, you know, the second you put in a steak in your body, it's no longer a steak. It's a decomposing corpse that is just takes a lot of energy to get rid of. And you know, a lot of people enjoy that feeling. A lot of people enjoy, like, eating a big steak and feeling tired afterwards. Like, they just, like, I feel, you know, it's almost like a sleeping pill. Like, I remember one of my uncles talking about that. I was like, dude, that's awful. But, no, just try to avoid the animal products just for a week or 2 weeks. Just try it and see how you feel. The dairy will slow you down. All these things, they just slow you down. You know, it's adding weight to who you are. Like, it's just slowing you down. And, you know what, there are animals who need this. You know, like cats, they thrive on acid. They thrive on it. You know, so just understand who you are, what your system is. Because you can have a car that takes gas, but if you're shoving diesel in it, then you're doing, like, you're messing up. Your car's not going to run too smoothly. Yep. So try to eliminate the animal products. Meat, cheese, dairy, all those things. So the oils. That's another thing that I want to talk about is the oils. Because oil literally will just slow you down. Oil. And oil, I mean like potato chips, French fries, onion rings, What else has oil?
Sunflower oil. Just cooked, any kind of cooked oil.
Yeah, even peanut butter. Even peanut butter that has the unnatural peanut butter is just full of oil.
Even you could be doing a plant-based diet, all vegan, whatever, and be using a ton of cooked oil and still die of a heart attack. So that's something you got to be careful of. But again, just do your own research on this. We're coming to the point where it's almost an hour, and guys, we could talk about this forever, like literally. But I got to go take a piss, and then I got to go do 10 piss-ups and push-ups afterwards.
All right,
so let's do this, Cam.
All right, we're gonna wrap it up. 1 second here. All right, so thank you very much for tuning in on this one. This was a long episode talking about a lot of things, and you're bombarded with information, but I hope it helped you, and like we said, do your own research. If you want to, catch up with us, check out our social media, check out Implicit Empowerment on Facebook, and also just get in contact with us. Talk to us about, hey, I want you to talk about this in this episode or whatever, Come to us and come to us with your questions, your ideas, all those things, because we love hearing the comments. We love getting the messages. That makes my day, honestly. So
yeah, it's a huge motivator when we get comments and messages. So please,
absolutely. So thank you again, and go lead your life. Lead it.